Welcome to the Sports Betting Preview Show, a pregame.com podcast. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined once again by Vegas Runner. This is another in the continuing series of how-to videos, and we talked last week about flat betting versus unit betting, and we asked you guys to get into the forums and at YouTube, leave us some comments and some questions, and we'll carry the conversation on further. Great response to last week. I mean, let's face it, if you can give somebody all the winners in the world, if they don't know how to use it correctly and they're betting poorly, they're not going to win.
No, you're going to lose your bankroll. Even if you're a 75% winning handicapper, which I haven't met one yet, if you bet incorrectly, you're going to lose your bankroll. It's math. It's simple mathematics. It's a mathematical certainty. If you overbet your bankroll, even at 75% winners, which isn't attainable, you're not going to make money. In fact, you're going to lose your bankroll eventually if you do not bet, correctly.
Now, one of our posters on the forums, and again, please feel free to jump in every week, any of the topics that we talk about on the podcast. Jump into the thread, either at YouTube where the video is actually housed,
check,
or into the forums thread where we post, the podcast link. Jump in and give us some questions or some feedback, and we'll continue the dialogue, either right in the thread or here. And one of our forum posters,
he's sharp. I've read his stuff for a while. He's sharp.
He is, and the guy is super disciplined. He's telling us he's been betting 30 years, so here's a guy out of my generation, and he plays what is, he's saying, he's describing it as flat betting, but it's the percentage bankroll theory, which a lot of people use.
So you're betting more when you're winning because your bankroll's increased,
right?
But you're betting less when you're losing because your bankroll's decreasing.
He has a fixed number. He has a fixed number
every day. He adjusts it, or does he go weekly or monthly?
Well, by the sounds of his post, he's adjusting it daily, but still. Which is fine. I mean, wherever your adjustments are, because it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is an adjustment. You have a set number. He's betting 1.5% of his bankroll each day. But as his bankroll is going up and down, his plays are, moving with it.
That's why he's been around and successful for 30 years, because he's not going to be out of play. He'll be able to sustain
never be out of
losing
play.
Streaks and be there to profit when he gets hot again.
Right. And he said in there that he's played nothing but straight bets. No parlays, no teasers.
Wow.
That takes huge discipline. But really, the sharps, most sharps don't play. There are some values. There
are some situations, especially when you get the correlated parlays, you can tilt the edge. Otherwise they're not good. The house edge on a two-team parlay is 10%. Right. The house edge on a straight bet's 4.5. So obviously, you have to win a lot more at a higher percentage to make money doing parlays. With that said, what he's doing, I give props to. He's betting like the wise guys are. He's betting a very low amount, percentage-wise of his bankroll. 1.5%, I say, is a beautiful. That's great. I mean, that's what you should be doing, around that 1%, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of guys say they'll do 3% and 5%. I think you can get in trouble going that high. I think him sticking to 1.5% is going to allow him to survive any stretch that comes his way.
Right. I think too that in what he didn't mention is his volume, how many plays you're playing to.
True.
I think that if somebody like yourself, where you're more of a volume capper.
Yeah, that's why I'm under 1%, to be honest with you, of my bankroll per play, because I don't want to expose 20% on a given day.
Yeah, if I used to see some of your old days in basketball.
That's what I'm saying, with half times and this and that.
But if you're a guy, that's playing one or two plays a day, and that's all you do every day, given, day in, day out, then I think a higher percentage of bankroll
absolutely. To maximize profit, of course. To maximize profit, I agree there.
Another question that we had, and this one was posted in YouTube, kind of, and I forget the user's name, so I apologize for that, but it was talking about different sports. Do you, just, when you're doing that bankroll and your bankroll grows, so your bet size grows, and you go from one sport to the other, you just roll right into that. And my take on that is an absolute no. To me, you've got a master bankroll, and then you've got a bankroll that starts with football, you got a bankroll that starts with baseball, and one for basketball. And the reason to me that they're different is if I just went through the entire football season and I had just an absolute kick butt season and my bankroll doubled. So if my bankroll doubled, that means what my unit size bet was in September when the football season started now has doubled with my bankroll doubling. I don't want to go that high moving into the start of basketball, because just because I had a kick butt football season, there is no guarantee that my basketball is going to be as successful. You need to build the bankroll based on performance, and each sport's got to earn its own bankroll size.
The one thing I would be careful with is, guys that are so much more confident in one sport than another. I myself don't approach it that way, because every given year I might do my damage in baseball. Next year I might do it in football and basketball. As a professional bettor, that's the uncertainty of it. I'm looking for an edge every single day, regardless of the sport. With that said, I think if you're not going into a season confident, obviously early in the season your confidence level may be lower, may be higher. Some guys look to take advantage early. Other guys prefer to sit back and evaluate first before they, are confident. And that's fine, whatever works for you. But the bottom line is, I think you need to be confident. If you don't think you could beat that sport, you really shouldn't be betting it. That's just how I look at it, because then you're gambling. And if you're gambling, the book's going to end up with your money. Now, with that said, like you said, you don't want to double your bankroll in football and all of a sudden be playing double amount in basketball. You're betting 100 a game. Now, because it's double your bankroll, start betting 200 a game in basketball. But there's no problem, I think, betting the same amount. Okay, you doubled it in football. Come into basketball and bet those same $100 plays. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If anything, now you just have a bigger bankroll and could overcome a losing streak. I don't think if you're a new bettor, you need to be adjusting your unit size, your amount per unit, not your unit size, your amount per unit too often. Like, you shouldn't be going from 100, every unit is 100. Now I had a good football season, so now my unit size is going to be 200. 3 weeks in, here comes college basketball. I did good in the beginning of the NBA. Now my unit size is going to be 300 per unit. I think that you have a tendency to get in trouble. I think you need more consistency when it comes to unit amount as opposed to unit size.
Well, that's why, to the novice, the percentage bankroll dictates everything for
exactly.
you. The math is there. There's no human element for judgment calls. I'll backpedal one thing moving from one sport to the other. Again, I think if it's somebody like you that's moving a lot of plays, again, in this instance, it just becomes action. And that, the moves, the steam, all of that stuff put together is going to give you a lot of plays, and you're under the impression of the grind, where you're going to grind. I
have this much of an edge, so long term that edge is going to leave me some profit.
So just taking the bankroll and using the one master bankroll and just having the things grow, I can see that wholeheartedly. If you're somebody, again, that you're, a specialized guy where you're just one or two plays, I think you need to see that your one or two plays, your stuff is working.
I agree. I totally agree. And it comes down to exactly what you said. There's different types of bettors. And there's not going to be one way that everyone should follow because we don't all bet the same way. We don't all approach it the same way. So I agree with you there 100%.
Hey, we're out of time, amazingly. He's Vegas Runner. I'm Marco D'Angelo. We'll be back with the continuing series. Talk to you guys next week.